Okay. All right, all set, Brian, go ahead.
All right, it's currently 3:48. We're going to get started on the November 17, 2025 meeting of the Commission on Disability. I am Brian Gallagher. I am the chairman of our commission. I cannot be there in person today, so I participate remotely. But unfortunately, our vice chairman, Martin Costa, is there, and he will handle
Put a mic on the phone.
questions of our witnesses. Right, Martin?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a special visitor today. Her name is Kathleen Default. Is it Default or Dufault?
Yep, Kathleen Dufault, yep.
Oh, you pronounced the T, huh? I was for sure it was Dufault.
Yeah, sometimes some people do still
Yeah.
pronounce it that way.
You go default.
Default.
Okay,
yes.
default. Yes, Kathleen Default.
Okay, so we're going to hold off on approving the minutes of our prior meetings until Lisa arrives. But Kathleen, why don't you tell us why you were interested in joining the Commission on Disability here in town?
So, first I want to honor my Uncle Ray. He loved Westport, and my husband and I recently moved to Westport. We moved this week, and actually, so, and, I want to be able to help make a difference, help the community, maybe, offer my skill set as a nurse to provide some insight into maybe different things that I can do to help, I come up with ideas, or, I'm very nervous, so I apologize.
No, you're doing fine. That's cool. Let me help you along with a couple of questions. Maybe that. Listen, do you have any experience with any other, like boards, disability boards, nonprofits that you've been on? Any kind of, even, like Girl Scouts or anything like that that you've been on? Because would you be interested in, what I'm really interested in with anybody who comes on the board, would you be interested in going out and doing some outreach with us? Like sometimes, like we had a night out for like, the policeman did a night out, and we had like a table out there, and we had our
Yes.
Commission on Disability banner out, and, we passed out flyers. Would you be open to doing a couple of those things a year?
Yes.
You'd be able to go
yes,
out and do that?
yes.
Okay, cool.
I have my correct form.
Go ahead.
So yes, that's on the list. I'm part of I work for the Brigham and Women's Department of Dermatology as a nurse. I've been there for a very long time.
You still go there, like you drive into Boston every day?
Yeah, well, we just moved this weekend, but I'm remote 3 days a week, so it allows me
Oh,
to,
good.
figure it out.
That's nice.
So I've done some community service. I haven't formally sat on any boards or anything like that, but I volunteered with the Dana-Farber Blum van, which is a melanoma. We do free skin checks. We go to the area beaches. We do free skin checks. We provide resources. We provide free skin checks. We have physicians that actually come out with us. It's a great team of people that donate their time. And we give free skin checks. We give information, research, literature, I'm pretty good at that, community involvement, and
Good.
I would be happy to do that.
Excuse me for a second. Brian, Lisa is now here with us. Lisa, we started doing the interviews because we have so much to do. We want to get started here, okay?
No problem.
And this is Lisa Dufault.
Kathleen.
I'm sorry, Kathy Dufault. This is
Hi, Lisa.
This is Lisa Costa, Heidelberg Costa, sorry. Anyway, so we just started the interview, and she has moved to Westport. She is here. She just moved this week. And, she's a nurse. I was asking her that question about would she be willing to go out a couple of times a year and do some of the outreach that we'd like her to do. And she said, yes, she would. And she's been on different boards, and she's been in the van that the Nursing Association has.
Well, it's actually, it's called the Blum van, and it's a outreach van for melanoma.
Is that at the Brigham?
It's at the Brigham and Women's.
I belong to that hospital.
Okay, great.
I'm very familiar with Dr. Peter Shore. He was 80 years old.
Yeah, Dr. Shore.
He actually diagnosed me many, many years ago with lupus, and he had been my physician till the day he retired. So,
Oh, okay. Yes, we know Pete, Peter Shore was a great guy.
him and his wife, yes.
He's a great guy.
Still is.
Yes, yes.
Imagine that, retiring at 80.
Yeah, a lot of our physicians, like I've been in the department over 20 years, and although I've never sat on any formal committees, I've always been involved in the community part of it. So I've always done Melanoma Monday. I would always facilitate that with the other nurses. We would do free skin, we used to call it Melanoma Monday. We would open up the clinic, people would come in, we would give them free skin checks, and adequate resources, things like that.
So you travel to Boston every day? for
No,
your shift?
my husband and I just moved here.
So you're retired?
No,
Oh, so do you go to Boston?
Yes.
To go to work?
2 days a week.
Oh, good for you.
So I'm only 3 days a week remote. So I'm 2 days a week in Boston still.
Do you have any problem coming to these meetings on Mondays? We do it once a month, like an hour and a half?
No,
You have no problem, okay, good.
And you said you have or have not served on any boards?
have not.
Have not?
Have
Okay.
not. Have not served on, I co-facilitated support groups for melanoma, patients with melanoma, survivors of cancer, melanoma cancers, things like that. So I have a lot of experience more on the patient side as opposed to,
Community side.
Yeah, I've done a lot of community service in my life, but
Sure.
right now, the most community service that I do is basically geared around melanoma awareness, skin cancer awareness, cancer support groups for melanoma for patients, things like that.
Strictly in dermatology, though, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Perfect. I just read her letter from the
Yeah,
doctor.
very nice.
Oh, did you get my letter from my?
Yeah, thank you. Very
He
nice.
was a resident when he came to us, so yes, I've known him many, many years.
He's not there anymore, correct?
He's there.
Oh, he's still there? Okay, awesome.
Yes, yes. He's there. He works, he has a dual role. He's, I believe he's board certified in internal medicine, too.
Right,
So
that's
he's
right, I
kind of
saw.
all over the place. But yeah, he basically has several clinics still at the hospital in Department of Dermatology, yes. And I am still his clinical support nurse on the care management side.
Yeah, the reason why I asked is because when I looked him up, he was actually on the internal side.
Yes.
And he has more of a presence, well, he had more of a presence online, I should say.
Oh,
Than
okay.
he did in the dermatology, that's why I asked.
Oh, yes, no, he does, he serves as he does a lot of the inpatient service at the Brigham.
Okay.
So he has a dual role, plus he's a researcher. He's a busy guy, so yeah, he's everywhere. But I support his clinics at the Brigham and Women's Dermatology. I do his care management, his like triage is really the role, care nurse, care management nurse, triage nurse.
All right, cool. So Kathleen, so you feel like you bring a lot of your nursing ability
Yes.
to this board, is that?
Yes.
Am I right when I say?
Yes.
When you come here, that's what you feel like you'll bring to it? Okay,
Yes.
cool. Do you have anything else you'd like to add before we move on?
I mean, my mom was blind, my grandmother was blind. My best friend, her daughter was in a car accident, she had a traumatic brain injury right at the beginning of 2020. So I've had a lot of personal experience with, the disabilities that people are faced with. So, not just on the clinical end and navigating, trying to, preempt visits that the, patient might come in, things like that, but I've had some personal experience too, trying to help my mom navigate through her disability was.
And that's good to hear.
It's a
because-
learning experience for me.
It is a learning experience.
And we all have personal challenges. I've had a brain injury, and so I have my challenges every day. I do have a support group that I started. It's going to be 2 years this year.
Oh, wow.
Obviously, Martin is a spinal cord injury. And then, of course, we have Rick over there, who is very involved with his child. And so we all have personal experiences,
Yes.
and we live it every day, right, Rick?
That's right.
And I think that's what's essential.
Yes.
That it needs to be relatability, because when you're out in the community, you're not only representing your family, but other people that you don't know. And I think that that's essential, with our mission, wouldn't you say, Martin?
That's correct, yes. And it was a journey, as coming from, being a caregiver in a clinical setting to having to, being part of my mom's journey was a big learning experience for me, and how difficult it was for her, how challenging it was for her to, her day-to-day those sort of things. She passed away a month after Ray Phoenix passed, so.
Oh, my God.
My mother passed away shortly after Ray.
Oh, boy.
So, but she, I think she became blind maybe the last 10 years of her life. It was losing her license, her independence, those things. It was very impactful, like things you take for granted, you just never, you don't realize, and then seeing my mom go through that. Yes, and my best friend, her daughter with a traumatic brain injury, being she was completely paralyzed, and she's walking today and talking today. She still has limitations, but my childhood friend, I feel like we went through that together, and her daughter's just been such an inspiration. It's just another reason to.
Those experiences are
Correct.
so much more important
Yes.
sometimes than clinical stuff.
Yeah.
But the clinical is important too.
Yes, yes.
But you got to have those life experiences to really know what people go
Yes,
through.
yes, it's very different. It's
And I
very
think the expectation too, walking in our shoes, as you said, witnessing it through your mom's eyes. We have plenty of people in white coats that are around us, especially during the beginning of our injury, safe to
Right.
say. And when we're out in the communities, they're really looking for that personal relationship and witnesses to it. Because I'm sure if you ask, our significant others in our lives, you're not the same person when you're working with a family member and/or loved one
Right.
that has challenges.
Right.
So you look at it from a nursing point of view, okay, set that
Yes.
aside. It's totally different from a
Yes.
daughter's point of view or like a wife's point of view, or if you ask my husband, he would have a different point of view. And I'm
Right.
sure Rick's wife is right in there with us as well as Martin's family members as well, so.
Right. Different skill sets that you have to use when you're not providing the care, right? When it's someone you know.
It's not a skill set. It's something that's almost forced on them, and they have to kind of like
Correct.
to build their way through it. And yet, we are not the same people. Like my husband would say to me, honey, I love you to death, but you're not the same person that I married. And he's absolutely right. We mourn the people that we used to be.
Right.
And it's kind of like parenting. There's no parenting guide, is there, Rick?
No, unfortunately not.
So I mean, when you don't, you can have a skill set, but in the same token, when you're put in that position, and I'm sure that Brian will agree, there's no guide that guides you through daily life as a part of our challenges. So I think you really have to look at it from both ends, from both sides of the spectrum.
Absolutely. I'm here to help if you guys,
Appreciate it.
I,
So listen, we'll take
Nice to
this,
meet
we'll
you.
take this under advisement. We're gonna, do a few more interviews and make decisions at the beginning of the new year
of course.
and get back to you about it and so forth. But thank you for coming in, and
course.
it
It's a
was
pleasure
very good
meet
to have you here and very nice
Pleasure to meet
interview.
you.
You did great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kathleen.
And do we have your contact information?
Yes, Brian.
We have
has
your phone number and
All of
everything?
my.
Brian, you got everything we need?
We do, yes.
Thank you, Brian.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for coming in, Kathleen.
Thank you, Brian. Is it okay if I stay for the meeting? or-
Absolutely. Yeah, welcome to stay.
Yes.
That's Brian's clock, by the way.
I know. I wouldn't mind once an hour, but every 15 minutes?
Martin, are you being critical of my lovely wife's
Yes.
clock?
I love it,
Oh, it
Brian.
drives me nuts, tell her. Okay, go ahead.
I will tell her.
All right.
So, okay, well, the next on the agenda is we have other possible new members that we're going to have to discuss in the next couple meetings. So we have to, when we have the chance, we're all together talk about Eric Tobias, who we met last month. And next month, we're going to be meeting with, well, hopefully with Mr. Brewer. We
Yes.
should invite him to the January meeting,
I already
Which will
did,
be-
Brian.
January 26th. Oh, great. So he will hopefully meet us then and there.
Yes.
And that will mean that we've got 3 people that we've talked to. And Martin is putting together the article that's going to go into Shorelines that will mention the fact that we're a couple people down and we've been looking and discussing and interviewing people. But if anybody else has an interest in joining us, just let us know. Contact information will be available. either by calling the number that Martin had posted or by using my email address. So we hopefully, and within the next several months, or hopefully by early 2026, we will have decided on inviting 2 more people to join us. And the next thing on the agenda are donations for 2026, I guess. We have some money still in our account. According to what Nicole, the accountant, sent us, I think we have 22,258 plus another 1,000. We've already committed 5,000 to the Hicks Bridge Landing project. Now, I talked to Jeff Bull about that just the other day, a couple of days ago, and he mentioned that that money won't be needed right away, but it might be sometime within the next year. But in any event, we should keep in mind that we've already earmarked $5,000 out of the $22,000 for Hicks Bridge Landing, which means that we have at least $17,000 still to donate. And as we've discussed many times, the money doesn't do us any good just sitting in the account. So we need to find ways to spend it to help people in town who have disabilities. Last month, I think we spoke about making sure that the money that we donate to these places goes to help people, residents in Westport who have a disability or have a family member who has a disability. Because we talked about, recommended maybe sending money to the recreation department, to the food pantry, to the council on aging, and to share. But we want to make sure that money goes to the people in our community who have disability or have a family member who's disabled. And that's a real challenge, because if we donate money to the food pantry and somebody drives up to the food pantry where they just give out the food, how can we tell that the food's actually going to help someone with a disability? So that's going to be a challenge.
Well, can we stop there for a second? I think the idea of the food pantry came up first because of the whole situation with SNAP. We got really concerned about that. And since then, SNAP has been reinstated, or I know it's going to take a few months to get it up and flowing. I did talk to Cindy Wilson, who's in charge of the Westport Pantry, and I'd heard through the grapevine that the pantry was doing really well. People really stepped forward. The Boston Food Bank had, sent them quite a good donation. They got donations from different organizations. Long story short, she said they were pretty much all set through January. So I would say that we hold off on any donations to the pantry right now because they're set, and we can do it in the future if we want to. But you're correct that it's going to go as a general donation. There's no way you can say specifically send it to disabled folks and so forth, or the seniors or whatever. I mean, I think it's a great organization, don't get me wrong, but I think they also have a lot of places where they're getting their donations from. So I would probably suggest we table that for now.
When you said I'm sorry, when you say they're all set through January, we're almost at the end of November, so that means they're all set for maybe 2 months.
Yes.
And hopefully they will continue to be funded throughout the rest of the year. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't consider giving them some money so they can.
I agree. I mean, don't get me wrong. Cindy said we can always use donations. You know what I mean? She'll always take a donation. But I think we should prioritize where we're going to send the money. I think we already suggested sending it to the recreation department, and I think we should honor that. We've all received a letter from Dana where she could use the money. She's used it in the past to good effect, and I think she'll do it again for hiring, assistants with children who need help. And I think Rick had some direct effect with his child. And there are other children in the system that could use it. So I would like to recommend that we send $5,000 for next year for the recreation department. Other commissioners can give their opinion on that one.
Well, I agree that the recreation department has done yeoman's work in terms of helping disabled folks in town, both young and old, in terms of the programs that they offer. So I have no problem giving them $5,000. That's how I feel.
Anybody else?
Anybody else want to weigh in?
I'm in full agreement. I think Dana Stewart and the Recreation Department have been good stewards of the funds when granted as well. So full support there. Do we have so certainly we can move and vote on that, but is there value in listing out the other potential sources as all together so that we've got a full list of potential sources and then we can...
I think
What do you mean, prospects of where we want to send the money?
Yeah, I mean, was that we've got the food pantry, we've got the recreation department.
We were talking about share.
Sure, right.
I think we should talk about them individually so that we're all having a chance to weigh in.
Right.
that
And
okay?
we also talk about the Council on Aging now.
I'd like
I
to,
know that they have other funding sources, but I've read articles in Shorelines that says that they rely for at least 40% of their budget on donations. So it's something that we should talk about and consider, along with everything else.
And I agree, Lisa, I wanted to talk individually, but I didn't want to
one at a time.
start going through and voting individually, and then we get down to
Yeah.
one that we really want, and we realize that we've already voted out all the money. So that was my point, is
Yeah.
that let's talk individually.
Yes.
I'd like to weigh in, to have the opportunity to weigh in on recreation, if I might, Brian.
Sure.
I'd like to weigh in, yeah, obviously, on recreation and Dana. You know, Dana really took the initiative after Martin had contacted her about the use of the donation that we were inquiring about. And I thought that the letter that was written on her behalf to all of us was essential, because I think most oftentimes when we do donate, you're right, we sometimes don't know where those monies are going to. And I think it's really important for the different organizations to write a one-page, like Dana so graciously took her time to do so, because we don't really know what's involved in her daily activity. And there might be an activity that she might choose to do in addition to her normal calendar, and have the monies in order to do that for the kids based on the time of year, or whether it be a busy time or not. So I just want to thank Dana for taking the time, and Martin, keeping in touch with her, as our representative with the commission. And I think it's a well-valued donation for her to use moving forward with her programming.
So would you agree $5,000 to the Recreation Department, Lisa?
I would agree.
Okay. Now, every time the Shorelines comes out, they have a discussion about the Council on Aging and the various programs that they have, and what they do to help people with disabilities in terms of both having a van available that can accommodate people in wheelchairs. And I myself have taken that van, and it's great. But they also offer programs like computer skills and other types of things that people with disabilities might need. As I said, they rely on outside donations. So I personally make a donation to them every year. But I think that as an organization with some money available, we should talk about the Council on Aging.
I can speak, I'm on the board for the Council on Aging. We have a board meeting tomorrow. They do get a significant amount of grant money that they utilize. For instance, the technology program, I believe, is what you're talking about. And then they have a transportation, they have transportation grants that need to be utilized as well. And so, if I might, I think I would like to have a conversation with Beverly, as far as the needs, to be sure that it is being utilized for exactly what we're earmarking it for, not to interfere with those grant monies that have to be utilized, because as well as I do, the grants are there to be utilized to its full capacity. So I know that they watch that particular portion of donations. So I think I can get a better a better answer for you, maybe for after the first of the year, with regard to that. I know that they're having a big gala, which is their major fundraiser, which we've been invited to, and I will bring that invitation or send it to everyone. I believe it's December 10th, don't quote me, but I will get the invitation out to everyone. And that is their major fundraiser that they're going to be doing. I know that, Martin, you got an invitation?
Yeah.
Did you get an invitation? And I believe the minimal amount is $75, and I think the maximum amount is $500 based on the tickets and tables and all of that. So they are doing an amazing job with that particular fundraiser. So if we might, I know that we can still award monies, to my knowledge, after the first of the year. So I'd like to, ask the necessary questions where that money would be utilized to give that information back to the commission and you, Brian, as well.
That would be great if you would do that and report back to us
Absolutely.
so that we have a better idea. Now, every year the town allocates $1,000 to us in addition to the amount that's in our account.
Yeah.
And that money disappears at the end of the fiscal year, but every year they have always reallocated that amount to us. We've never spent it,
Okay,
at least in my time on the board, but on the commission. But it is there should we ever get to the point where we need that extra $1,000.
wonderful.
So, in terms of the Council on Aging, Lisa will report back to us. Food pantry, they're all set through January. Does anybody feel comfortable enough approaching them saying, going forward, will they have a need that we might be able to help with?
Are you looking for different organizations, Brian, that we
No,
might?
right now I'm just asking if anybody knows about food pantry.
Oh, I can take, I already let them know, Brian, that we would be sending a donation at some point. It just doesn't matter.
Okay.
They know that we will be sending them something. I just didn't give them a date. I know Cindy very well. Cindy's on the board with me for the cleanup, the litter cleanup, so.
Right.
I'm very, I know her very well, so I'll just let her know that in the beginning of the new year, we'll revisit it.
Perfect.
Okay.
How about Share? I figured we should give them something, but
What is share? Remind me?
Share was,
Sir, yeah, we had that gentleman come into one of our meetings.
Yeah, Martin was
Last week,
remote.
yeah, I was remote on that one. I'm sorry, what was the gentleman's name?
That was the, I have his name. That was the gentleman, they actually are, I believe they're a 501c3, and they provide the certain technology boards with regards to people that have challenges, so that they can communicate via photographs, and they can actually, it's almost like a.
Yeah, in the old days,
Kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
people would just
You
have to
there,
point,
Oh,
they would have to point to a board, to a
correct.
letter, and spell out a word.
Some of them are, it depends on the type of challenge they have. I know that, I believe, don't quote me on this, but quadriplegics sometimes need like a particular mouthpiece or some type of a straw where they actually can communicate via this
Right.
technology. And then they have very simplified ways to communicate based on,
I
pointing.
moved.
Yes, correct.
They also
I'm-
they had a board she would hold up, and if you look at A, they spelled the
Yeah.
words, and then also on the
Exactly.
computer screen, if they look this way, it would spell out certain words. It's
I think-
so they set it up individually, so if there's somebody who's.
So yeah, and I'm sorry, but Share accepts either brand new or gently used, like up to 3 years old,
Correct.
computers, tablets. They can reconfigure to help people with these programs,
Right.
so that they can make it much easier for them to communicate through the use of these adaptive devices.
A
And
friend
I
of-
thought it was a great program, very worthwhile program.
A friend of mine years ago, when Share was part of UMass Dartmouth, which they are no longer, took part in what they did, and they came to his house. He was a quadriplegic, and he just like you're talking about, he wanted to be able to use his computer and also play an instrument. So they set up a mouth stick for him so that he could play a keyboard. It was amazing, and then he could also turn the knobs on the mixing board and so forth and so on, and so they just adapt all the different type of equipment so that someone who cannot move their arms or legs can still communicate.
And I also want to weigh in and say, unfortunately, Rick didn't get to see the presentation, and neither, well, actually, Martin and I had,
We saw it at the
we
Council on
saw it
Aging.
at the Council on Aging, and then it was reinforced at our commission meeting, but Martin was actually remote that day. So maybe, do we have to make the decision on that particular organization to give Rick a chance maybe to look at the presentation via video?
My only question was, did they make a specific ask or request of us, or are we looking to make a preemptive donation to them?
They did not make a specific
No.
request of us, and other than for some of our time, so they could tell us what they do for people and how they do it.
But
I think,
But their brochures, the literature mentioned it.
yeah,
Yeah.
That they were
Right.
a foundation that takes donations and so forth and so on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the only question that we had, and I think this goes back to the Council on Aging, is how do they determine who gets their services, was that we wanted to kind of like explore a little bit, because it's not like a doctor that's deciding it, and there's no board that decides it. So Martin and I believe, and I'm not going to speak for Martin, but this was our conversation afterward, is what actually is the process for someone who does want to utilize their services, and where is that medical professional, doctor, deciding, and how it's being determined. And that was really never clarified to us, is how individuals are vetted, if you will, based on their need. And then, of course, they have some amazing experiences, like Martin said, where they have assisted. I was just wondering, and Martin had the same question, is how do they get to that point?
Well, they had a,
and, I'm sorry. Again, my understanding is when a kid gets into high school, they're automatically these days given tablets, so that they don't have the need. But SHARE addresses needs for people who can't speak, who can't use their fingers, and have other disabilities that prevent them from using something like a normal high school kid would use, or a normal preschooler would use, or a normal adult would use. So I think anybody who is approaching SHARE looking for help has got a disability of one kind or another, and they need the help. Because otherwise, they can find ways to get themselves a new iPad.
Yep.
So,
I think from our
yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rick.
I was just thinking sounds like a fantastic organization and great equipment that can support any number of people with needs for the communication. I think in terms of to be able to vote on funds, it would be good to have a better understanding of what the purpose of those funds are. Are we supporting the organization because we believe in the technology and want the funds to be general purpose for them to have discretion to choose? Would it be to sponsor a Westport resident who maybe the technology is out of reach for them, and that we're helping to offset the cost of that? Would it be to maybe some of the hardware, the tablet equipment that needs to be sourced that would be provided to a resident? Any of those three, I personally would be supportive of. But I think we would want some clarity from them in terms of where we can make the most impact and how we can try to direct that benefit to Westport residents that would allow us to add a little bit more clarity on a motion.
that's a good point.
Yeah, and-
Yeah, and to that point, I think we would make it clear to them any donation that we made has to go to help Westport residents,
Right.
Not just the general public. So they're set up in New Bedford. That's where their office is. But ours is the Westport Commission on Disability, so we want to make it clear to them that no matter what we do, and whether it's a monetary donation or something else, it's got to be, the purpose has got to be assist Westport residents
Yep.
with disabilities.
I agree, Brian. And just to echo that, I think the needs letter, again, that Dana was so gracious in getting to Martin was essential, obviously. So I think it would not be a bad idea to reach out to Share and ask them for a needs letter. And then we could then utilize your expertise, being a lawyer, putting down those types of requests as to how we would want the monies to be utilized for a particular Westport resident in conjunction with their outreach programs, and earmark X amount of dollars, $2,500, $3,000, whatever, the commission decides, $5,000, utilizing for those particular residents. Because I do believe when they did come last, I believe that they average for their types of technology, I believe it was 12 patients a year. And don't quote me on the 12, but I think that's what was mentioned. So there's not, there's not 40 different people that they're assisting. So maybe having those types of I don't want to say restrictions, but guidance as to how we would like the monies to be utilized moving forward.
Yeah, and we could say to them, look, we're going to give you this amount of money this year, and if you only have 2 people from Westport, use it on them, but don't use it all on them if you don't have to. Save some, because next year you might have somebody else from Westport, but we want to be sure that we help Westport residents with the need.
Right.
So,
And I don't believe that there's, Brian, do you remember if there was an age restriction? I don't believe there's any age restriction, correct?
no, and there's no age restriction, and that's when he mentioned, like kids in high school get free stuff through the education system. Which is why they're not really focused on just normal, healthy high school kids, but people of all ages who have a need. And I don't know if there's a down age, like somebody who's
Okay.
12 or 13. So it's something worth discussing whenever we find the contact person. And I'm sure that in some of the literature or that we can find a phone number.
I have his contact information. I'll tell you why. I had someone outreach to Stroke Buddies and Friends with regards to Share, and I happen to have the chairman's phone number and contact information. So I made the call for South Coast because they had a couple of patients in neurology that wanted to utilize their services. So I actually called him directly on his cell phone, and he was more than happy to outreach to that, to neurology, to help them with their patients as well.
I set them up too, to have the appointment over here, so if you want me to call them, I'll be more than happy to, whatever you guys want.
Yeah, just as long as somebody talks to them and gets some idea of what their needs are, and would they be able to restrict a monetary donation to only Westport residents?
You want to call them?
Up to you, whatever you want me to do.
All right, I'll call them.
Martin, you and Lisa can do rock, paper, scissors to see who gets involved.
I don't know how to play this game.
Rock, paper, or scissors. She doesn't know, forget it, I'll do it.
Okay.
Poor kid, she didn't have
know,
that kind of upbringing.
I didn't know, and he always makes me pay for it, but yet when he wants to go on a little field trip, when we're visiting all the beaches,
What a
I
nice
was
trip we had
right there today. We went to every paper road and every access point, so,
We'll tell you about it later on,
Yes.
with Chris
New
Gonzalez,
business.
it was very good, actually, very enlightening. Okay, Brian, continue.
Okay. So we'll reach out to these organizations, find out more information,
yes.
so that we can make a final decision on donating the money that we have.
You
Are we-
take the council on aging, and I'll take this guy,
That's fine.
right?
And then on recreation, are we ready to make a motion on that?
Yeah, you want to make a motion on the recreation, donation to the recreation department?
That would be $5,000 to them.
Yes.
I second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That is, okay, so that's passed. We will donate $5,000 to the Recreation Department.
Okay,
And now, Martin, I will prepare the minutes. You can take them to Nicole
okay,
and have her write, or transfer the money, however it's done,
Yeah,
from
I'll take-
our commission to the Recreation Department.
okay, we'll do.
Perfect.
Did everybody get, by the way, still talking about recreation, I thought I forwarded, did I not forward the letter from Dana about the update on the playground for the Bicentennial Park?
You did.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
It was just kind of interesting, wasn't it? So that sounds good,
Yep.
because
Yeah,
she's keeping us in the loop on, obviously keeping it handicap accessible. We want to stay on top of that, so all is
Right.
good, okay?
And maybe she'll maybe use some of the $5,000 to help
Yes.
with that new playground.
I will let her know that, because I see that she's got the handicap accessible swing in there. And what else? And, obviously the soft rubberized surface, which is good for wheelchairs, and inclusive counter panel play area. And I'll just make sure I go through everything with her. She usually shows me well, there was pictures, I couldn't print up all the pictures, I sent them all to you guys, so.
One thing we may want to consider on that is it looked like construction starting in the spring, this coming spring.
Yeah,
And, we did the communication board for the
oh, yeah,
the playground here. I'm not sure if she's already included that in the plans for this new playground, or if we should look at doing that separate.
I don't think she has, but,
That'd be a great question.
okay.
Okay,
Okay,
moving on. And finally, before we move on, everybody has their marching orders about reaching out to contacts at Share Food Pantry Council on Aging to see about what or if donation we will make there.
yes,
Okay. Now, final thoughts. I received an email today from an organization, a company actually in New Jersey, that has accessibility things like mobility mats and chairs. They're getting into the water with a big inflatable wheels and other types of things. And I forwarded it on to Martin, wondering if that was the company where we purchased the original set of mobility mats. Turns out it was not.
that's
But-
correct.
This might be a company that we could turn to for ideas if we ever decide on a plan for Cherry and Webb Beach.
Brian, it's funny you should bring this up. I happened to take a look at this company, and they have some interesting, they have movie mats. There was another company that I went, when I actually drove down there to grab the movie mats, a few years back, is a different company. They both sell the same kind of movie mats, so I think they're just distributors. And the prices, I was kind of surprised. I don't think we paid $2,500 for a 50-foot length.
Wow.
That's kind of high, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
I think we paid $1,900 or $1,400 for, prices have really jumped up, folks. But luckily, we still haven't used our two 50-foot lengths that I have in storage at the barn at my house, so keep that in mind. They make another mat that's made out of coconut shell, as
saw
you
that.
could imagine. It's, but not that much cheaper, it's like $2,000, so maybe it's about $400 cheaper. Seems like it gets wet and it holds the water a little bit longer, but when it dries, it's just as good as new. I don't think I want to go with it anyway. But anyway, I looked at a few of the other systems they have. Oh, that damn bell, I'm telling you, every 15 minutes. Brian, you got to get here in person. You see
Yeah, I know.
Love it.
Are you want to come on this commission? Put up with this baloney?
Martin, I am so glad that my lovely wife is not here to hear you out her family
I'm so glad too,
grandpa.
because she's adorable. She's wonderful. But that
Yes, she is.
grandfather's clock has got to go. But anyway,
No, Martin, I would go before the grandpa.
that's a good one, Brian. That's a good one. But anyway, so they're basically the same price, to be honest with you. I'm sure there's other companies that sell the Moby mats. they have the chairs that go into the water. I didn't look at the prices of those things and so forth, but to answer your question, no, that's not the same company. And I was just surprised at how expensive Moby mats are now, so wow.
Now, have there been any further conversations about what to do with Cherry and Webb?
Yes.
How to access
We're on a
that?
mission. We're on a mission,
We're on the
Brian.
mission, but, I don't know, fill them in, but watch the clock, please, go ahead.
Okay, so I hate it when he puts me under pressure, Brian. So we actually are still on the trail for the accessibility. It's going very well, in my opinion. We are trying to get together our needs list, if you will. I actually think I found a vehicle today, which I will discuss with you once I know that the vehicle has become available. So, for handicap accessibility, to do our pilot program, we did agree to kind of like do a test run for next season to see if in fact people are going to utilize it. We also met with Mrs. Brayton here at the town hall. Martin and I sat down with her, the best way to do an outreach to our town residents that have challenges and that are, I want to say, deemed handicap or have a handicap placard. We talked about sending a letter out via the taxes. We do have to get permission from the select board in order to do so. It won't change the postage in any way, but we do know that we have to pay for the copying of the letter that we will devise, and the necessary questions. I think there's only like 3 or 4 questions that we want to include. One, are they interested in adding an additional $10 payment to have transportation provided so that we can kind of sub the cost with regards to the beach pass, so it would be in addition to the beach pass, and then they would check off a $10 additional bus pass, if you will. We're not going to call it a bus pass. We haven't gotten creative yet with it, but that's essentially what it's for. And I believe we have a rough estimate of how much it would be to put that particular document in with the taxes, about $1,700. The drawback to doing it through the taxes is everyone who pays taxes to the city, I'm sorry, I apologize, to the town of Westport will get that questionnaire. So if they don't live in town and they just own a parcel of land, and if their business is commercial, it's all included. So we may want to revisit another avenue, which someone else brought up, maybe utilizing a voting list. And we really haven't decided how we're going to extend that outreach just yet. But we have made a trail, if you will, as far as entertaining different ideas of how to reach town residents so that they can vote on or give us their opinion, I should say.
Excuse me for 1 second. How about when people go to apply for their town beach pass?
Correct. We could do that as
that
well.
way?
Yes.
And that way it wouldn't go to every single resident. It would go to only people in town who want to use the beaches. And I'm sure some of them want to go hike up and over to get the Cherry and
Yeah,
Webb.
but the point of the matter is, Brian, that there's a lot of people that don't go for the beach pass because they've said, I've given up on using that beach because it's so far to go. We're talking about Cherry and Webb, Kathleen. We're trying to make it accessible. There's a lot of people that say, I just can't walk it. They may not be in a wheelchair, but their mobility impaired for whatever reason. They can't walk it.
Correct.
So they don't get the pass anyway. You know what I'm saying, Brian? So I'd like to get the questionnaire to folks who have given up on going to the beach to say, hey, if we get you a shuttle, would you go? This is what the beach committee wants to know.
Exactly.
So that's where we are now. They're trying to say, the beach committee's saying, we don't want to get involved in this unless we know people are going to use it. Well, I think people will use it,
I
but
do too.
we got to prove to them that people will use it.
Exactly. So maybe Rick,
Well, we also, in the past, we've talked about limiting it only to people who have a disability. Because we know there are people in town who would love to use it because they don't want to hike up and down because it's not easy for many people in town.
All right,
But
well, that's fine. So then you're saying anybody who has a placard, So where do you get that list of anybody who's got a placard?
The DMV.
The registry of motor vehicles, but would they want to give up that information because of privacy concerns?
I doubt it.
I don't know. That might be a good question for the police department. Because I know that before they give you a ticket, they're gonna run your license, or maybe we could put some type of a invitation, Rick, maybe on the town website, or
Yep.
even have the police department and fire department maybe put it up on their websites to go in and get the questionnaire, or give us a call, maybe we can mail out a questionnaire to individuals. We do have some time, obviously. This is a great time to approach it because we're in the winter months, right? We're not actually in the heat of the summertime. So I think any way that we can maybe do a town meeting, on behalf of the commission and talk about it, or invite them, to come to one of our meetings and share their frustration or share with how they would utilize it if it was easily accessible. I think what the Beach Commission is asking us to do, which Martin and I have been working so closely with, is, we want to lease a vehicle and/or rent a vehicle so that we would know what costs are incurred with the vehicle if this moves to a permanent position. They've already agreed to hire a lot person to address parking issues that are at Cherry and Webb Beach, so that's a given. But then they would have a dual role of providing that transportation to and from the parking lot area to the Moby mats that would be existing there. So I think the trial study is pretty much a go, providing that we put it down on paper so that people can look at the study appropriately, and then we could get the numbers that are so desperately needed, making this something permanent moving forward. And I think establishing the need is going to be the most important thing, and then we have to look at what the costs would entail based on the need. Like Martin said, we don't want to do it for 2 or 3 people a month, but if we're getting like 5 or 6 people a week, then I think that would show interest, and I think we can then build upon that. And as word gets around and the success of it is apparent, then I think we have solved an issue that has been going on for such a long time, and the commission's leadership and our team as a whole would feel really good about accomplishing that goal.
The big thing is to get the questionnaire out there and just to invite people to a meeting or come to our group or to go to the website. You're going to need just a handful of people. That's not going to do it. But, I think there's also a Facebook page, a Westport Facebook page that has like 5,000 or 6,000 people on it. That gets very controversial when they start talking about things in town. That might be a place to put it and see if the word spreads that way. My point is, we got to get it somewhere into the hands of people, and not just a few. You know what I'm trying to say? That's why I like the idea of putting it into the tax form or putting it into a voter registration thing, because it gets out to everybody. I don't know how we can get it to, enough people.
I agree.
We gotta
I
think
agree.
about that.
And I think too, maybe a letter from you, Brian, with all the members, and sending a letter to all of the boards here in town and the committees, like open space or
Yeah.
COA and the recreation department, getting everyone involved so that they can share it with their constituents that
Yeah.
watch on cable access. Cable access does a great job. I also think that we should send it through the school department as well, because, there's 1,900 students, over at the high school, whether it be grammar school, high school, or even the elementary schools. Those parents will read those. So that's a clear indication, of what we're trying to do. And that will get it to the younger folks. And then hopefully through the Council on Aging and our other entities and the churches, that we could then distribute it, as much as we can. And then obviously utilize the technology as well.
Well, anyways, that's where we are. So we can't get bogged down with this questionnaire. We got to try to get that thing moving forward, because that's where they're gonna catch us. You know, I'm trying to say, like, I said, well, we asked you for a questionnaire. We haven't heard
Right.
anything yet. So, we need to get them that information, that data. Once we get that, then we can move forward with saying, okay, so we have these people who are saying, yes, they're willing to pay the $10, Like, we had a couple of people, when we did the night out, and we sat there in front of the table, a few people came forward. I asked right away, and I said, hey, what do you think about Charing Web? Would you be willing to pay a few extra bucks if we had a shuttle? Oh, my God, yes, of course I would. Now, granted, these weren't handicapped people. You know, these are people saying they would like to have a shuttle go that way. So, you know, we gotta get to those folks who have a mobility problem. Anyway, that's where we are. Do you have anything else you want? Still got 15 minutes, right?
Yeah, I think what I would like to, based on the beaches, I know it's going to be, you know, that's not just the only thing. Martin, you did already do the questions, pretty much.
What's that?
The questions that we wanted to ask in general,
For
the
what?
general questions for the questionnaire.
No, I didn't do the questions. I didn't do the questions yet.
You didn't do the questions? Okay.
I got them in my
So-
head, but I haven't written them
Okay,
down.
so but the most important thing right now, and the Beach Commission was firm on this, is that they want it to be that when we first do it, that it goes out to people who are in fact disabled or have a placard.
Right.
And they're looking at the DMV or someone that would go to, and I'm going to assume that they're going to go to the Beach Pass office and show the placard to get that additional documentation that would say, yes, I am, I have a disability, and they have to check that box off. So that's actually going to be added to the Beach Pass questions. I guess they have questions on their Beach Pass too. So with that being said, so I think from the overall standpoint, once, like Martin said, we get all of the necessary information, it will make us a lot easier to move forward. And then the vehicle part of it, we do have someone who's willing to help us with regards to that, but I also think that we may need to kick in some monies from the commission, and the Beach Commission has also agreed to kick in some monies where needed, but we just really don't know what actually that is going to be. Because I know that the position is going to be a dual position because of the parking attendant, so they're going to kind of wear two hats, so they will be employed by the Beach Commission, as well. So I just,
There's not going to be that many questions on the question. The question is basically going to say,
I think
would
there's
you
like
be
3
willing?
questions.
Yeah, like 3 questions.
Yeah.
I
thought you had
Would you
said
be
this.
willing to, you know, pay extra money? First of all, would you use a shuttle? Would you be willing to pay extra money for the shuttle?
and are you disabled?
Are you disabled?
Yes.
You know, kind of real easy.
Yeah, there's only like 3 questions.
I'm thinking while you're talking about all these different
Yeah.
areas we could go to, where we can get these things answered. And I can think of a lot of places, everything Westport, the website, you know, that's,
Yep.
ask them to
department
put
would
up
agree.
there. I'm thinking about Karen Ann, Realty puts a thing out all the time, that all the things to do in Westport, they throw it on there. There's just a lot of places where you could put this question.
I
at
think so,
And start
too.
getting some
I
good
think you should
ideas.
also put it in the COA newsletter.
Yes.
I
I
think,
mean, all these little different newsletters that go out.
yeah,
and just-
I think we'll be able to
But we need to
corner
get
that.
started now.
I agree,
Okay.
totally.
I'll check the website and see if we can do a form through the website, or and if not, then we could post that questionnaire on letterhead on the website. And then that way, if we are posting on Facebook or the other sites, it's directing back to the Commission on Disability website. not
And there's a
just-
lot of people, just so that you know, that actually read the, I don't know if it's their Facebook, I believe it is their Facebook, for police and fire. They're very engaged with the community, so maybe we could also put something on there.
Can we talk about this a little further? Because I'm at odds a bit with you, Brian, and with the beach committee, because I feel like if somebody has a mobility issue where they can't walk, and Kathleen, you can chime in from the audience, has a problem walking that long distance to Charing Web, they should have the ability to get on the shuttle. They may not have a placard,
That is a beach commission, that was the beach committee's,
but I'm not saying
Request.
somebody who's got 3 children that wants a free ride there, or somebody, but let's say it's an elderly person that does not have a placard, that can't walk that long length, but should have the right to go to that beach.
I
Why
think-
can't they get on the shuttle? How
So this
can
is-
we determine that? Can
so
we
this
say
is-
if you're 65 or older?
no, so this is what I think. Because the commission, the beach commission, has allowed us to do this study, I think we should agree to their terms. Then I think once we see the need, that there is above and beyond, not only the people that are disabled,
How do you know that? This is
When-
above and beyond. You're gonna ask,
when you get the responses back.
but no, what's the question gonna say? The question just says,
You
Are
don't-
you disabled?
Because we're going to also have a little section that's going to say for any additional comments. And if I was not disabled and I wanted to utilize that beach and I pay taxes to have access to that beach,
Right.
I would put down, I would love to enjoy that beach, but because of the walk and how difficult it is, I physically can't get there. Would you consider, I don't mind paying the extra $10 or whatever fee that they come up with or we come up with, would the transportation then be accessible for me as well? But I think because they already gave us the guidelines and they weren't going to deviate from that, then I think we should
Stick to it?
start, I think what we should do is, let's show the need for people that are disabled.
Disabled first.
And then based on that, I know that we're going to get
People say.
people who are going
I
to
wanna
turn
go
around
too.
and say, I want to go too. And then we have to present that and say, it's not just us saying that, and amongst people that we don't even know how to identify them, we can turn around and say, look, we got 450 people that responded, and I'm just throwing that number out. 450 people that responded. 125 of them are disabled, and the rest are people that are seniors that can't do it.
What do
Then we
what do
bring,
do with them?
then we bring it back to the beach commission and say, how would you like to address this?
Right.
Because I agree, someone who's having difficulty, what we think, we're representing the people who are disabled. And not to say that the people that are not disabled don't have a disability or it's very strenuous for people to get there without a disability. Because
Right.
you've already made that perfectly clear.
Right.
And I think we should take one hurdle at a time, knowing that that other hurdle is coming down the pike.
Right.
And I think that that's something that we need to revisit with the Beach Commission, stating, okay, we've addressed this the way you would like to address it. Now we have something else on the table that we need to talk about, because now there are people in town that are willing to use it.
Okay.
Now, what actually are those numbers? We can't tell them because we don't know.
Right. Because they will come back and say, the beach committee, where are we gonna put all those people now? Now 350 people who can't walk very well, seniors, want to use the shuttle, where are we gonna put them?
But they're
If they
en-
all show up at one.
but
My
they're
answer to that would
entitled.
be, we will then make a reservation system. We'll only take so
Absolutely.
many on a certain time.
We can
10 can come at this hour, 10 come at that.
We can expand this, but the
Okay.
thing being is this is a beach that is in the town of Westport. And the taxpayers, to my knowledge, all pay for all the beaches in Westport based on accessibility, whether you are disabled or not. They're entitled to use them. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is
If
that-
you get a beach pass, yeah.
If you get a beach pass, you can utilize the beaches.
Right.
And if you don't have a beach pass, you can get a state pass that we have. If, what are you, over 60 years of age or over 55? I forget, a senior, whatever a senior citizen is considered. You pay
Includes all of them,
$10
yeah.
and you have it till the day you pass, right? And you don't get charged for parking or anything else.
But
And
that's
that's
state.
in the state of
State, yeah.
Massachusetts, right? You can go to Scusset Beach, you can go to Horseneck Beach, you can go anywhere you want to go, right? So I think accessibility, whether it be disability accessibility or accessibility, everybody is entitled to have access to a beach in this town, if you have a beach pass. So I'm not saying that it won't come up, I'm sure it will. And I think that that's just another hurdle we'll have to climb.
Okay.
And I know that you're frustrated about that, because you brought that up at the very beginning,
Yeah, the beach
when we
committee said
first
no.
met with the
They
beach.
said just handicap, okay, that's fine.
Exactly.
Because I know it's gonna come up.
Yes.
But anyway, and I think that's only fair, that people who have a difficult time walking that long length, who might be elderly, should have the opportunity to use the shuttle as much as they have.
Well, you were the perfect example. You went down there,
Yeah, but
and they
I'm-
offered you a ride, and there was another gentleman who said, I'll take a ride.
Yeah.
Because he was having
No, it was a
difficulty.
gentleman, it was a woman with 2 kids.
Oh, there you go, a
And
woman
the-
with.
And the
children.
lifeguard said, this is what's gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
That people are gonna say, give me a ride down now, give me a ride down. I mean, but if you have a set, like you said, if you have a set that you have to have a handicap placard, then you'd be, okay. All right, let's not stay on this all night long, so that's fine. We'll get started on
Okay.
putting together a questionnaire and decide how we're gonna get it posted and where we're gonna post it.
And as far as our market, I'd like to address our marketing next, if we could.
Sure.
So Brian, we're already, actually, I brought in the mock one that we have. I am just waiting for additional information, which I do believe you finished your story.
Putting together a brochure.
So we're going to actually update the information with regards to what's essential and what's not, and I'll be more than happy once I start collecting all of the topics that we would like to either vote on or through recommendations of our commission as far as what you would actually like to put in the brochure. So I'm going to open that up for discussion because I was not here at the very beginning. And I don't know, if we should put like obviously we need our mission statement and what we're doing here in town and what our commitment is to the Westport residents, and then take it from there, how you would like it to be topicked, if you will,
Personally, I always liked the mission statement. I don't have a copy of it on the
You sent
flyer
it to me.
that we sent out.
Yes.
Can you bring that in?
Yes.
Whatever, or pass it around by email?
Mm-hmm.
So I personally would like that mission statement put in here about us, the main purpose, blah, blah, blah. And then I thought some of the accomplishments that we had made over the years should be put in there. This is just my opinion. And there should be a picture of us or, I like the playground in there. I think that's a big accomplishment. And what do you think? What else should be? I like throwing it to you.
All right.
What else is there?
So, one recommendation
Go
would be, the likelihood of us updating this on a biannual or annual basis is low, if we're being honest. I think it's something that we're likely to produce and want to get some legs out of. So,
Yes.
my recommendation would just be that whatever we choose to highlight in there should be as timeless as possible.
I agree.
Maybe so
even not a picture of us then.
No photos, definitely no photos.
Or
Because
names of us, because the names of us change all the time, right?
Right.
Is it necessary to have a picture of us or names of the people?
No.
Okay.
I think we can have that separate.
You can have that separate, and it's just a matter of a click and delete to put someone's picture in or someone's
Yeah,
to
but
have names in.
you're gonna copy up 100 of these and then all of a sudden somebody drops out and now
It's,
they're old, now they're old.
and the other risk too is that, and it's a risk we have right now with the website, for example. It was probably 2 or 3 years the commission went without website updates until I was able to get in.
Yes.
But right now, I'm the only one that's in making website updates.
Right.
Something happens to me, it might be 2 more years before somebody else gets
That's
back
right.
in.
I
Just,
agree.
just, I hope that would not be the case, but
God
it's just
forbid.
reality, right? So,
Yeah.
but same with you, like you can click and paste in. If you leave the commission, we've got limited access to it. Now we got to start from scratch again. So I think we never want to have that be the expectation, but I think planning for that just gives us a little bit more flexibility, so.
Sure.
Well, all right, so are we?
I think there should be an interaction part, though, from community, like if they want to reach out to us,
100%.
a little section that they can actually write a comment or maybe an issue or something that
You mean
they,
like an email address or something?
an email address or like, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 lines that says, if you would like to share any type of request or any type,
On
another,
the brochure?
yeah, absolutely.
No,
We do that.
no, I'm definitely against that.
Well, I've seen other commissions, I'll bring some other samples in, because
I'd like to see
you
that.
do want to have
What are
people.
they gonna do with it then? Hand it to you and say, here's my comments, here you go.
No, in other words, if we're working on projects or we're doing things and people, we want an open invitation. We have Brian's
Why can't they
contact
just write
information there.
something? Yeah, just say.
But what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
poor Brian shouldn't be the only person that they contact. What I'm saying is there's a general place for them to share information, or if they have a challenge that they want to make us aware, and they want to make us aware of it anonymously, it's a way for them to do that.
I know, but they write it on and then where do they put that?
No, they don't write it on, they can write it either on it, drop it off to us, kind of like what we were welcoming the questionnaire. Remember, Mrs. Brayton said that they could pop it in the mailbox, and then we would be able to go through, the questionnaire, here. It's the same thing. We want to be able to encourage people to participate in our decision-making or come to a meeting, and have transparency as to what we're doing. I just think that having our Westporters involved, that's really our goal, is so that we can have communication between people who
No, I
live
agree
in
with that. I
town.
just don't think you need to have a line on here. If you have the phone number and you have the information that we meet once a month on Mondays,
That's my point.
yeah.
That little box there. and not have it inundated going to Brian, where he's like the poor guy,
He's
you
the
know.
chairman. He's gotta
I
do-
know
he
he's
gotta
the
do
chairman,
something.
but it should be like.
Yeah, I might as well, doing something, right?
No, I think, you know what I mean, Brian. I think it should be a general sense, like, you're going to be the main contact on our brochure because you're our chairman, but, there are other people that are recognized. I'm sure that people recognize you, Martin. I know that. You're like the governor. And people know you by, having other presence on other committees and everything, and people know you by face, and they might not know you by name.
Okay, so why don't we just make up a little bit more, we'll do another.
Oh, yeah, that's all going to be
We'll just add a
reworked.
few more things.
Yeah.
Just bring it in, and we'll just keep refining it until we get to the place where we're like, okay, cool.
Then you say
We're ready to print, and it's a go.
Yeah, well, I think we should also let people know that they're always welcome to come to our meetings. They should check the website because the place of the meeting changes, but they should always, the time is always the same,
That's right.
but they check our Commission on Disability website for the place of the meeting, and everybody's welcome to attend.
Yes. Okay.
And then that way, if they want to have input or make comments or suggestions, they can come, and we'd always make time for them.
Yeah, and the QR code on the inside is good. We can
Oh,
take
yeah.
that right to the main page,
QR
and
code.
we can
I
keep the
was
front page of the
asking him for
website much
QR
more.
code.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's-
you can get me that, right?
Oh, super easy, yeah.
Okay.
And then we can just keep that front page of the website more fluid and dynamic, and have this be more, because once you've printed it, it's going to exist. Somebody's going to stuff it in a drawer, they'll pull it out a year later, look at it again. So the more we can make that have long legs, the better. And then
Okay.
have a code that takes them back to the website, and the website we can have updated and more regular. So, yeah, that's great.
Oh my goodness, Martin, take a look at the time.
Hold on one second. We have a new administrator coming in. We know that, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so we still have a lot to talk about. We just don't have the time to do it tonight.
Okay.
So let me just say this.
Yep.
Our next meeting is on January 26th,
Wow.
2026. The place is yet to be determined, and I will put that on the agenda that I prepare for our January meeting, but January 26th, 2026 at 3:45.
Okay. Sounds good. Let's put the ADA coordinator on the agenda to talk about that. Like who it's going to be, and whether, we're gonna ask our new administrator if he's gonna be that person, or we're gonna
Yeah.
get somebody else. How we're gonna do that,
When I saw his name and his experience in shorelines, it didn't look like he had a heck of a lot of experience, if any,
Right,
with the ADA.
right.
So,
Zero.
So maybe we want to invite him here and discuss that with him.
great.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Now, finally, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned. Thank you so much for your time.
Have good holidays. See you in January.
You too. It's great. Have a great Thanksgiving and a wonderful Christmas, and we will see you in January. And Kathleen, if you're still there, thank you so much for coming in.
She is still here. Thank you, Kathleen.
We're holding her hostage.